Hi, everyone, and welcome to today's discussion of the advancements in airport technology. My name is Cheryl Stewart, and I'm the Airport Marketing Analyst here in Genetec. And joining me on this call today is our Airport Practice Lead, David Lano, based in Paris, and our Business Development Managers in the regions, Jared Mosman in North America, and Giovanni Takuri, based in Asia Pacific.
Hello.
Thanks, everyone, for joining us today. Now, our intention for this discussion is to have a better understanding of the trends, outlooks, and impacts of advancements in technology in the industry. Now, what we've seen so far is that digital transformation is accelerating in airports, and the increase in passenger traffic was the driving force behind these advancements. Now, Jared, if you don't mind starting us off, how do you think this is impacting airports' decisions in terms of the types of technology that they invest in? Can you shed some light or give us some insights for North America?
Sure, thanks, Cheryl. So according to ACI World, passenger traffic hit around 9.1 billion in 2019, and projections are actually indicating that we were going to be close to 9.5 billion in 2020 before the COVID pandemic. Obviously, now those numbers are going to be dramatically lower, but once we begin the road to recovery, the number one goal for airports will be to build back passenger trust and confidence around health and safety, and then obviously work on ways to deliver the best overall experience. Because what will happen is, even more than before, these airports are going to be competing to be the airport of choice for the region, and it's going to be important that they're competitive, and to be able to be competitive, it's going to be critical that they deliver a smooth, safe, and seamless journey from parking all the way to the gate. So, in fact, many of these airports were already making some of these changes around the data that they're capturing and what they're actually sharing with passengers, including things like improved wayfinding, displaying passenger wait times, even doing better airport lounges, and bringing in local businesses to replace some of those old retail and concession chains. So now the innovative airports, they are really focusing on different ways to capture relevant passenger flow data and analytics that will really help optimize operations. So they're looking to capture critical data that sits around check-in, at security checkpoints, retail, and baggage claims. So, of course, this type of data won't not only improve the passenger flow, but it's going to make for a smoother overall experience, but also has the ability to increase non-aeronautical revenues if and when we capture the right data, we learn from it, and we act on it. So leveraging from some of the latest data technology will help airports be more competitive, attract more passengers, and, of course, increase revenues.
Cool. I think that's really interesting that you mentioned how data can play such an important role in terms of improving passenger experience in the airport. Now, same question to you, Giovanni. Has there been similar trends as what those that's mentioned by Jared in Asia Pacific?
Yeah, absolutely. According to the ACI reports, actually, APAC, Asia Pacific, is the region that is growing the fastest. So in terms of traffic passenger. So basically, what we see here, we have many regions that are actually expanding their infrastructure. So you see like Philippines, Indonesia, building new terminal, new runways to cope with this increase. And maybe Vietnam or Thailand or India, they are refreshing completely their airport to transform the experience and to accommodate more passengers. Actually, this one is the goal, the final goal. So this is an occasion for them to also refresh the security and they look to something more performant. And what we can see here is, for instance, perimeter and surface management are evolving very fast. They are, of course, they have to cover the perimeter, they cover the new building, the new terminal, the new runways, apron, etc. And they are looking at different technology that can cover not only the two-dimensional perimeter, but the three-dimensional perimeter, because now drones are a part of the equation. You can see as what happened in Gatwick last year. So I mean, now there are different threats, and they are also combining radar with video analytics that are much mature now with the lidar. Everything is together everything like unification. And then to have the best response, the fast response as possible, what they are doing, they are looking at what in Europe is something that is like maybe 10 years old, the APOC, the Airport Operational Center, or the GSOC. This is also starting, not slowly, but I mean massively now in APAC. The idea is not to just have one single big room, a big screen with all the people over there, but it's real to share the data across the different stakeholders, across the different departments in a way that they can leverage all the data in a way that they can improve their operation. And this is sometimes it means that they rid off the legacy, if we talk about video, DVR or NVR, to have some more cutting-edge technology that can help on this digitization of their infrastructure. So this is what we see here.
Yeah, I can definitely see why having a perimeter intrusion system that's able to unify all the different teams, as you mentioned, as well as provide support in terms of decision making, is interested by many airports in Asia Pacific as well as around the world. And also that you mentioned with the increasing new ways of intrusion nowadays, for example, the drone incidents in Gatwick last year. Having a 3D perimeter intrusion system would be definitely a new way to go. And speaking of technology investments, as we all know, airports are among the industries that are largely hit by the COVID pandemic because of the travel bans, and cost-saving plans are in place for the coming year to ride this storm. David, would you share your opinion on this, and how do you think technology can play a part, not only to keep airports afloat, but also to help them save costs as well?
Yeah, thanks, Cheryl. Obviously, we're all grounded. I guess you see it from everyone's background today also during that call. It's a very tough time, but I see for many airports, it also turns into somewhat of an opportunity. While people are being busy right now looking at the backend systems. And as mentioned earlier by Jared, digitization is running full pace for customer fronting systems, but backends have been someone left alone. So it's the moment simply to look at it. What we see is that many of them are embracing digital technologies, but they mainly miss to fix some of the underlying issues. What I mean by that is, for example, the lack of cooperation between the different teams, which needs some infrastructure to be deployed. And that cooperation will improve operations. So it's a very important aspect of cost saving moving forward. If we focus on security and safety, we see a lot of airports struggling with the amount of asset and the volume of data they are receiving in the system. By asset and data, I'm thinking of cameras, readers, intrusion detection points, and all the equipment which are there on the field. So many of them have been deployed out there, and it's difficult to actually leverage them. And sometimes they become an issue rather than a solution. So that's, again, a good point for digitization and unification. That is going to bring all the data together and will make sense of those data and eventually automate the processes in the backend, in the systems, but also produce the standard operating procedures that people will need to make sure situations are solved properly. All of that is true for the larger airports. But small airports also have their own issues, and primarily the economics. All those systems are extremely costly. And most of them, regional airports, have just a handful of employees. So it's very difficult for them to accomplish all the tasks they have to do in real time. And yeah, again, the digitization, the ability to use remote connectivity, the ability to use handheld devices and receive and manage situation remotely and on the ground is a big facilitation for them. So yeah, digitization is not just about the live monitoring or the management of incident, but it's also about the reporting, the aggregation of data, and the improvement of the processes over time. And those are all really aspects that need a strong infrastructure. So that's the moment, I guess, to act on that.
Yeah, I think you touched a really good point here when you mentioned the issues that could surface if airports focused or don't put enough focus on back-end systems such as security systems, as compared to the improvements that they make on the front-end systems, such as those of self-baggage checks or self-check-in kiosks, etc. This leads me to my next question, David. I know that Genetec has recently launched new modules within their airport security solution. Could you tell us a little bit about your intention behind developing these airport-specific modules and your overall vision for airports?
Yes, thanks, Cheryl. Indeed, and that's based on our customer base that is strong of beyond 200 airports globally. That we had this unique opportunity to witness a large number of them in real situations using our platform Security Center. And it's always good to see how operators are creative using the application in normal condition as well as in time of crisis. And more importantly, not only for security, but also how they use Security Center to monitor and improve operations. And that's always very impressive. So it's effectively thanks to those feedbacks that we were able to co-create with them what today has been launched as the Airport Operations Manager. What we also do is we effectively supporting individual operators and departments to manage their day-to-day operations, such as gate management or monitoring the passenger flow, which was mentioned earlier. We also make sure we bring a new level of automation in the operations. A good example is the Flight Business Logics module of the Airport Operations Manager. It unifies the flight and gate statuses and information into Security Center. And based on those, processes can be automated. So for instance, based on gate or flight status changes, such as landed or delayed or a gate change. So that's a great deal of facilitation for operators to manage system in a much easier way, and then to enhance eventually the security and the operations of the site. That suite of product includes a number of modules. I could mention the apron monitoring that leverages AVDGS, advanced video logging guidance systems, and the aircraft stands. I could mention the boarding route management module to control boarding and cleaning activity, and prevent passenger to land at the wrong location, and really make sure passenger segregation is always managed properly. Or I could also mention the way we leverage the ADSB data to protect aircraft and monitor their location. So if you put all of those components together, the flight information, the aircraft position, the gates, the passenger flow, what we effectively see is that Security Center for Airport is the ideal platform to start building a proper APOC or a proper GSOC for an airport.
Thanks for sharing that, David. And I guess everyone really just wants a safe and seamless journey in their airport experience, and to be able to have a security system that with all the modules that you mentioned just now, that is made to cater for airport specific problems, is something that I think people are really looking for. And now, before we wrap up, Jared, could you maybe share your thoughts on the future of airports with us, and what do you think lies ahead for them?
Sure. So my immediate response is that we've got a long road ahead through recovery, right? But luckily, this industry is really made up of some of the most creative and innovative, passionate people I think I've ever met. The aviation sector as a whole, we're going to need to restructure to be able to catch up on lost revenue for the coming months, and really be ready for this type of event again in the future, because it's not a matter of if, it's probably when, right? So we'll need to start to learn to do more with less for the time being. And so when we start thinking about security and operations, taking that unified approach, that unified system, is going to be what helps reduce costs short-term and long-term. It will increase productivity and it'll generate a higher return on investment. And so when we think about the COVID situation, we expect that, you know, it's going to have a long-term impact on the aviation industry, sort of the same way that 9/11 did. It changed the game for good, right? We don't like security checkpoints and waiting in line forever, but we're all safer for it. So if today people start talking about thermal imaging and body temper measurement, you know, as a topic, and that's what they start focused on, then we expect that airports will likely implement systems like this to measure and manage such a crisis and keep people safer, whether it's their passengers or staff, right? And one last thing, this is definitely a critical time right now to focus on cybersecurity. You know, the bad guys out there, they are not taking any time off, right? So it's really important for airports to find a partner that provides the highest levels of security credentials and certifications, and really just an overall commitment to protect your investments. So finding someone now that can help be a true partner in that will definitely keep people safer long term.
Thanks for that, Jared. I believe we've covered all the topics that we wanted to speak about today. I'd like to thank all of you again for sharing your experience and insights on the industry. As our panels highlighted, numerous advancements in technology has been developed in order to maintain the safety and security standards in airports across the globe. Today, we talked about a number of different buzzwords as well as issues that airports are facing, such as passenger flow data, optimization, 3D perimeter intrusion protection, cybersecurity, as well as decision support, just to name a few. Genetec ourselves, we also offer a unified security solution for airports of all sizes to get them ready for the next steps. So if you'd like to know more about this solution that we offer, please watch the individual video capsules that are available in the handout link below. I would like to now pull up a poll that you'll see show up on your screen right now. Thank you for your feedback, and we'll see you again next time.
Thank you.
Bye.
Take care.
Bye.